Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Becky Sechere. I hope you're all doing well. Nice to see you once again. So those of you who don't know about my channel, I'm a registered nurse from Ghana, but I've been working in the UK for a while, and I give tips and advice to overseas nurses who are already here in the UK or those of you who are planning to come. I try to inspire, I try to give you all the tips and advice that you would need to help you in your journey. If this is the first time you're visiting my channel, why not subscribe, like and share? So today I've got a lot to tell you. So some of you may be aware I've got a new job. I'm starting on Monday the 25th of April 2022, and I just finished my old job yesterday, 22nd of April. So the topic for today is becoming a Band 7 nurse in the UK as an overseas trained nurse. I will talk about the highs, the lows, the salary, and a little gist about my new job. So if you really want to hear it, why not watch to the end? See you. Hello, so you're welcome back. So let's delve into the video now. So I'm going to be talking about which category of people are Band 7. So for the purpose of this video, I'm talking about the NHS. So the starting salary of Band 7 based on 2022 to 2023 is about 40,057 pence per annum, and take home is about £2,298 per month. When you get to the top of Band 7, which would be between 5, 6 to 7 years, then the top end of your salary is about £45,839 per annum, and take home is about, after they've done all the deductions, it's about 2,584, or you could get about 2,000, let's say about 2,600 and a little bit per month. So what category of people are Band 7 in the NHS? So it could be a ward manager, it could be a lead nurse, it could be a specialist nurse, senior radiographers could be Band 7s, clinical data analysts, I would say, advanced data analysts as well, accountants, delivery managers, and several other Band 7s are working in the NHS. So it's not only nurses, but for the purpose of this, I'm now going to narrow it down to nursing Band 7. So basically ward managers, and then specialist nurses or some lead nurses. There are some lead nurses who are Band 8As as well. So how do you become a Band 7 as a nurse in the NHS? So one of the ways would be you work on the ward as Band 5, and then you would apply to become a Band 6 if the opportunity comes up. And then after a couple of years, you can apply to become a 7, which would be the ward manager. See, I've done a new hair. I hope it's fine. Anyway, another option of becoming a Band 7 as a nurse would be through educational route, which could be you go and study health visiting, or you study school nursing, or you go and study midwifery. So when you are studying for these courses, these are extra registration you will gain on the NMC. And when you complete that, so when you're training, you'll be funded by whichever trust has recruited you, and they will pay you as Band 5. On completion, when you meet your competencies, you get paid as a Band 6. And when you work as a health visitor, midwife, school nurse, or any of the specialist public health courses, qualified person, after a few years, you can, as a band 6, then you can apply for a team lead or leadership roles as a band 7. So those are some of the ways you can become a band 7 as a nurse in the UK. Now, how did I get there? So I started, so those of you who have watched my videos before, I talked about my professional development journey. So I started, those days it was D grade. So when I came, I did the same. We didn't do OSCE, but we did this international transition program called adaptation program. So when we finished and we got our registration, we registered as a D grade, which is now band 5. So I worked as a D grade for quite a while, about 5 years. So after 5 years, I went into specialist nursing. So I worked as a specialist nurse, band 6, for, let's say, a couple of years. And interestingly, so that started in 2009. 4 months or 5 months after I've started the band 6 role, my manager at the time moved on to a new job, and it was band 8. She was a 7 and she became a band 8. And interestingly, her role that she has left, her role that she has left was advertised as a band 8, but I just came as a band 5. I couldn't just go straight to band 8. So someone else who is a 7 from a different department applied and came for it. So I worked with this person for a while. I was supporting because I was already, experienced in the place, and I was running the place with 2 very experienced support workers. And we carried on working together until the new manager came as a band 8A. So we worked along, we did some projects, and we were doing really well. And then I thought, okay, I'm here, I'm a 6, I'm working with an 8, there is no 7 in between. So I felt, the role I was in, when you look at it nationally, that role was actually a 7. So I requested for my job to be evaluated or reviewed. And do you know what happened? The manager, or our general manager at that time, told my manager to ignore my letter requesting for a job to be reviewed. So I had to struggle, and I said, okay, if that is what it is, that's fine. I was looking around and I found a job advertised for a trainee health visitor. So I applied for it and I went through the interview. I was successful at the interview and I was supposed to be starting the course as a health visitor. And then whilst I was doing that, my manager, knowing how good I was, how experienced I was, she was working against me seriously. So she worked with her other. So fortunately, at the time I was about to leave for health visiting, our service was taken over by a different employer. So my manager worked really hard. They reviewed my job and there were a lot of other things that were added to my role. And the review came up and it says it's now a 7. I thought, okay. Now I had to decide whether I should stay and take the 7 position or go and do the health visiting. And when you go doing the health visiting, at the time, according to my contract, I would be paid like a midpoint band 5. When I finish, I'll become a band 6. And already I was a 6 and I'm being now upgraded to a 7. And the question is, should I go and study as a 6 or as a 5 and become a 6, or just take the 7? What would you do if you were in my shoes? So anyway, I'm sure you do the same thing I did. So I took the position as a band 7 in 2012. So I have been band 7 for 10 years in the NHS. So I did that, I took that role, carried on. And then in 2016, I decided that, you know what, I needed a bit of a change. So I applied for another job and I left to do that job. And that job was contracted for about 2 years, which is 24 months. So I decided, okay, I will go for it. So I went for that. And then later on, when I got to about 18 months or 16 to 18 months into that job, my previous manager, who was band 8A, actually informed me that she was retiring, which means that her job was coming up. And so I decided, okay, I want the opportunity to become a leader because it's coming up. I thought it was going to come as a band 8A. It was a lead nurse position as well. So I thought, why not? It would give me the opportunity to get management experience and all that. So interestingly, when I decided to apply and the job was advertised, for some reason they downgraded it from 8 to 7. How disappointed I was. But at the same time, I thought, you know what, I've got a lot more to give, because that service provides services for people from, Africa, Mediterranean, Indian origins, and a few other places. So those are the conditions. People who have those conditions are from most of these areas. And I actually did enjoy that job. So I decided that, you know what, it doesn't matter. I will take it. So I went for the job and I took it up and I did my best in that role. So I was successful at the interview and I carried on with that role. Anyway, why? In the end, I asked myself, maybe I shouldn't have after a while, because when I went for the job, I ended up doing what the 8A person who has retired was doing, and even more. There was a time staff had gone away on maternity leave and I was left as the only nurse. But being who I am, hardworking, I carried on, I held the place, I did my best, and you know what? Everybody saw how hardworking I was. But anyway, later on, I decided that, you know what? The role I'm in now, I'm struggling, I would say, because I'm doing too much. So I asked that my role should be looked at and clarified, because as you can see, I came into a role that was band 8 and I am doing it as a 7. And I'm working with a few other 7s who are not managing. They only have clinical responsibilities. I end up having clinical responsibilities in addition to managerial responsibilities. So I felt it is not right. Anyway, when I asked for this role clarification, I was told there was no money for that. Anyway, to keep the matters short, because I don't want to go into too much of details, an opportunity came for a regional band 8A role. So I originally thought, I may not go for it because I'm already doing an 8 role as a 7, and if I go for that, it's more responsibility in addition to what I'm already doing. So I might not go for it. And at the time, I think someone promised me a job or wanted me to come and work with them. So I thought I was going, but I decided no, I will stay. Anyway, let's not talk about that. So I was on leave when a friend of mine said, oh, I've seen a job in your department, a band 8A. Are you going for it? I said, oh, I did not even know. And I'm the lead in that team. Nobody has informed me that that job has been advertised in my department. Anyway, let's not talk too much about that either. I've made a note because I don't want to go off script. So anyway, days later, I came back from leave and I was due to have my appraisal. So I went for an appraisal with my manager at the time. This person only oversees our service, doesn't really manage what we do day to day. If I need something, I'll go and ask or speak to the person. So anyway, so when I went for my appraisal, the way the job was offered to me, not offered, described to me was this. Oh, I've only just been informed the 8A role has been advertised. It is a strategic role. As an 8A, the buck stops with you, just like me, because she was an 8A, which means that everything else, you have to make those decisions, which I understand. And the person said, actually, it's a new money. So telling me it's not any old money, it's completely new money, which I still understood as well. And that as an 8A in this particular role, you would have less clinical contact or something like that. So I sat up in my chair and I started telling my manager at the time about my achievements when I came to the team. And in the middle of it, I thought, if this person is my manager and doesn't even know how much I have done so far, why should I be telling this person? So I stopped talking. So we ended up doing the appraisal and I left feeling very, very disappointed in the way things went, because all as a nurse or as a staff, all I wanted was to be told, you know, this job has been advertised in your department. That's all. Don't tell me to look at it or do anything. Just say, oh, I've been informed the 8A role has been advertised in your department. And no one else said anything to me apart from the way this was told. So I said, okay, I'm not going. I left and I was so sad. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to apply for it. And at the end of it, this really affected me personally and professionally, because already I was employed into a role that was supposed to have been a band 8A, but I was employed to do it as a 7 because the person who just retired was an 8A and the money vanished. Anyway, let's not talk too much about that. So a few weeks later, I raised my disappointment with the manager and her manager to say, you know, I felt really disappointed in the way this job was handled. And I was told, oh, it wasn't meant that way. Don't think we don't appreciate what you do. We appreciate what you do. Anyway, the job got somebody else from a different department applied and they got it, not from my department. Not, the person is very well experienced, but not in that field. But anyway, I don't want to talk about that. So what did I do? I told myself the best thing going forward, before I go there, when the job was advertised, and most of it, not that's just that particular job, it's with any job in the UK, especially in the NHS, they put, we encourage members from the Black and ethnic minority staff to apply. And here I was from that background, and this is how I was told. It's like I felt discouraged already, and hence I thought, you know what, I'm not doing it. Anyway, so it did have a very negative impact on me personally and professionally. I was feeling maybe I wasn't good enough, because maybe I was only good to remain as a 7, not an 8A. Probably it's as if I cannot be a nurse who would make strategic decisions about, you know, what we do. And I asked myself, okay, I'm in this department with all this experience, with all these achievements, and if I cannot be an 8A in this department, would it be when I apply for an 8A in emergency department or a different department, would I get it? If with all the good qualities and all the knowledge and experience and skills I have, and I cannot be encouraged in my own department, what chance do I have? You know, there are times when I'm talking about these things, I cry. I used to cry a lot. I was so much under stress. I go to work. I used to be a very happy-going person. I became miserable. I would be at work. I would be having headaches. I sleep and I can hear my heart rate in my ears when I put my head down. I had sleepless nights. I questioned a lot of things within myself. And because I was really dedicated to my job, and I still, regardless my clinical work, I still did not joke with it, but it did have a negative impact because I had a lot in me. I felt I was going to give, but with that, after that has happened, everything just shut down within me. This thing sometimes can kill your spirit, and be careful in your workplaces, and find a way of managing these things, because if you're not careful, it makes you tip off. I almost considered asking my doctor to sign me off work, but I thought, you know what, I'm not going to do that. I'll carry on going. So I carried on, and I told myself, if I'm feeling that way, I'm not able to do anything to improve the service, because I feel somebody else has been employed or has been appointed. I don't want to have conflicts with that person. I want to leave the person to come and, implement what they want to do. I don't want to be in the way. So I decided I would find a new job. So I was fortunate to find a job, and I told myself, you know what, at my age, I want to go to work and be happy. I want to find a job that I will be doing, and I feel I can do that till I retire. So I found this job, which is the first of its kind in that field, in the particular place that I've applied for it. And so it's like, you know what, this is something I can do until I retire. So I'm looking forward to starting this new job. Now, you would be asking, why all this? Sometimes somebody's experience would help you in your journey. One of the good things that have come from the experience I had is starting this YouTube channel. So because of the way I was feeling, I told myself I need a way to deal and cope with the stresses I was having. So one of the ideas came from my little boy. He was 10 at the time. I did not tell him. He did not even know what I was going through. But one day he said, Mom, should we start I was talking about this. He said, Mom, do you want to start a channel then? And I said, why not? So I started that. And that is what has helped me. By helping other people, it was distracting me from all the stresses and the difficulties I was having in my professional life. I know I have talked a lot so far. I'm going to be, so I would say, in my experience, as I said before, I have been band 7 for 10 years now. I don't know what is ahead of me, but anyway, sometimes only God knows. Certain doors would open and others would close. Certain things happen in life for a reason. And what else? I've got my notes, so don't bear with me. So some of the positives. So I talked about the ups and the downs. So the ups for me were the fact that I have gained a leadership experience in that role. I gained a lot of experience. I gained experience in management. Also, the ability to initiate some service development projects in the team. Also, things like sickness and absence management, things about budget management, and being a leader, taking certain decisions. So those were the things that I would say are the highs for me, and working with the national, team as well. And then the lows. The lows has been the fact that, being band 7 in the NHS for 10 good years. Yes, I'm not the only one. I know there are others who are the same. But for me, I wish I could have done better. That is personal. But anyway, it didn't happen. But, I know I will do well in whatever I decide to do in the future. The other thing which is a low for me was the fact that I just went into downhill professionally and emotionally. I was having stress. I believe I may have been depressed, but I decided, you know what, I'm just going to carry on. Finally, one day I was having severe headache at work because I've been having headaches, and I ended up asking someone to check my blood pressure, and it was, oh my god, over the roof. And in the end I had to start on blood pressure tablet as well. So sometimes certain things happen, you think it's nothing, you need to deal with it, find someone to speak to. I did not really speak to anybody. Only, yes, I used to talk about it at work to my colleagues, but what else can they do? It is not easy in the UK to climb the career ladder as a nurse, especially those of us trained overseas. But it doesn't mean you cannot get there. You need to push yourself. Do not sit down and think somebody will recommend you and say you should go. You get overlooked sometimes. You get discouraged sometimes. I'm sorry, it is my personal experience. That is why I'm talking that way. Some people may have a different experience, but that is my experience. You have to push yourself. You have to find the opportunities. You have to apply for the opportunities. Make sure you get the skills that you need to meet those demands or roles in order to get there. But as I said, you have to work hard. For me, I feel even no matter hardworking I am, no matter how knowledgeable I am in my field, I felt it was still not good enough to get me there. But these things happen. A door closes, another one opens as well. So this is just some of the experiences, my highs and my lows of being a band 7 as an overseas nurse who have worked in the NHS for 19 years. So I will be starting next week, as I said, as a specialist nurse for headaches. So people who have headaches, I would become their specialist nurse. Do not ask me about headaches at the moment, but in the next 3 to 6 months, I promise you, if I will share whatever I have learned. And do see your doctors if you're having headaches. That's all I can say at the moment. So I hope this video has been helpful. I hope you have learned something from what I have shared with you. You can get there. It is hard work. You need to push yourself, but with hard work you would get there. Anyway, take care of yourselves. Like, share. If you have not yet subscribed, why not subscribe? What are you waiting for? And I hope to see you in a week. Bye bye.